Most emotional reveals on Paternity Court.
No, leave me alone right now, please, Mom. Stop. Oh my God. My son needs a father. 2 other kids while I was pregnant. You knocked up 2 other girls while I was pregnant.
Take care of my other 2, and I'm gonna take care of my 3rd.
Mr. Hamilton is petitioning the court for a lie detector test and paternity test against Miss Lombardi regarding her baby daughter.
Mr. Hamilton, you have petitioned the court for a lie detector test on Ms. Lombardi, as well as DNA testing regarding her baby daughter.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Lombardi, you argue that Mr. Hamilton is simply blinded by jealousy and paranoia.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, is Mr. Hamilton jealous and paranoid, or is 5-month-old Janae his daughter?
No, Your Honor. It's actually history and reality. Like you just stated, I had to get our other 3 tested behind her back after she admitted to cheating with the first one.
But Miss Lombardi sees things differently. How does she respond?
We should not have to be here, Your Honor. We should not have to be here.
Your Honor.
I have 4 kids with this man. 4 kids.
3 in the
We
process.
should not have to be here for this one.
But wait, Mr. Hamilton has a different story.
I fly in from Seattle. I'm driving home. I see one of my, and this is around the time of conception here. I see one of my buddies coming out my apartment.
Out your apartment.
2 in the morning, Your Honor. 2 in the morning.
What does Mr. Hamilton do? He asks his friend what he's doing at his house. How does Mr. Hamilton's friend respond? He says he was bringing back some DVDs Mr. Hamilton let him borrow the week before.
Okay, I asked him, I say, man, what you
Not
doing in
true.
my house, man?
Not
He's gonna tell me he bringing some DVDs back that I let him borrow the week before.
At 2 a.m.?
At 2 in the morning, Your Honor.
But why is Mr. Hamilton so riled up about this? Let's see.
Then, Your Honor, I go upstairs.
Not true.
I go upstairs. She in panties and a t-shirt, no bra, awake.
I changed
wait.
after he left.
Oh,
That's
wait.
not true.
That's the truth.
That is not true, Your Honor.
That's the truth.
Why was Miss Lombardi in panties and a t-shirt if she wasn't cheating on him?
So you were
No.
still fully dressed at 2 a.m. and you had, at that time,
Yes,
3
because when he
kids
is not
or 4?
home, Your Honor, yes, I sleep fully clothed unless he's in the bed with me.
Miss Lombardi now calls Mr. Hamilton the cheater in the relationship, at the same time that she also cheated when they first got together.
He is the cheater, Your Honor. He is just trying to
Okay,
put the
I mean,
blame
I ain't
on
gonna
me.
admit,
He is
nobody-
the one who's been cheating.
Ain't nobody perfect, but you know, I mean, it's been a while.
See? Do you see, Your Honor?
Have you cheated on him?
When we first got together, yes, Your Honor.
Oh, man, come on, dude. Real.
Does Mr. Hamilton have any more evidence against Miss Lombardi? Let's see.
Mr. Hamilton, I need you to give me more specific stories about why you're so doubtful.
I get home one day, okay, I'm trying to be romantic with her. I go upstairs, you know, because, you know, it's a special little day for us. I go in the closet, I get out the edible ocean. That I bought that never was open. It's half empty, but I didn't taste it.
So, wait, well, who ate the edible lunch?
I have
It
no
wasn't
idea.
me. It had to been him with his little cheating episodes.
Now the conversation shifts to when Janae was born.
Take me to the point when Janae was born.
He was
What
at
happened?
the hospital, Your Honor. He was at the hospital, signed the birth certificate I approve right here, but he didn't sign any of our other 3 children's birth
Yeah, because
certificates.
you're a liar.
Apparently, Mr. Hamilton signed Janae's birth certificate, but he still denies her. Why?
That is
I
Janae's
signed
birth
the birth
certificate,
certificate.
yes, but he's denying her.
Yeah, exactly. Compared to my other children, her daddy looked African.
Does Mr. Hamilton treat Janae differently from his other kids?
So now, Miss Lombardi, how does he treat Janae differently from the other
He,
children?
I don't.
Because
he
it's
will not
obvious.
take care of her. He will not help me
snap.
with her.
Now we can clearly see this is hurting Mr. Hamilton, and he's almost teary for a moment there.
Story. This is hurting you because I can see the tears
It
in
really
your eyes.
does.
This
It really
is-
does.
So this is
It's gonna
is-
even hurt me worse if I found out she is mine, man. To be honest with you. You know what I mean? Because
Your Honor, this
you know,
has
I
broken
love
up
my
our home
children,
after
Your Honor.
12
You know what I'm
years.
saying? I love my kids. I love them to death. I do anything for my children.
Refusing the paternity test only seems to increase Mr. Hamilton's doubts.
It's very
How
And
does
the
he
fact
think I
that Miss
feel?
Lombardi does not want to take the test, won't voluntarily just say, let's have the test, that's bothering you too.
Yes, it does.
Miss Lombardi has something to get off her chest. What could this be?
I would like to say something to Mr. Hamilton. May
Well,
I?
this would be the time. Yes.
You were right.
About what?
I cheated with your
What?
friend.
That ain't nothing new. Oh, word? You really did that, man?
Yes, twice.
The night I came home, we was
Yes,
outside.
I really did.
Man.
Yes, I cheated, Your Honor.
And it's his baby right here.
It is a possibility.
Told you.
Surprise, surprise, surprise. She did, in fact, cheat on Mr. Hamilton with his friend. Mr. Hamilton wants to keep the lie detector's results private. Why? Was he also unfaithful to Miss Lombardi, or is there something else he's hiding?
You're going to return to court for the results of the DNA test and also the results of your lie detector test.
Excuse me?
Now what?
Your Honor.
You are the cheater. Watch. You're going to see she's yours.
Unless, of course, there's something you need
You
to
got to
say
come
before.
clean about something?
Wait a minute. He's saying he trusts her after she admitted to cheating on him?
You know, when you all talk about the fact that you have 3, maybe 4 children together,
We
and
have
both
4
of you
children.
can't trust the other one as far as you can throw them.
Oh, I trust her.
No, you don't. That's
You
why we...
what?
He does not
Did
trust
you
me.
just stand up in this courtroom and lie and say you trusted her?
No, Your Honor, I do trust her. I
He
mean,
does not trust me. No, he doesn't. That's...
It's time to get answers.
Mr. Hamilton,
yes, ma'am.
you are her father.
Oh, my God, I knew it. I told you. I told you. I knew it. I knew it. I told you.
Oh,
I told you.
man. Are you kidding me, man?
I told you.
Now they want to get married? Guess it's a happy ending for both of them.
As much
I want to move on and get married. I want to, more than anything, maybe
Well, let
lift
me
step
tell you
up.
something. Marriage requires a foundation of love and trust.
Miss Simmons shares with her daughter, Miss Lawrence, something that she's kept from her entire life. What's the big secret?
Ms. Lawrence, you claim that 6 months ago, your mother, the defendant, shared a secret she'd kept from you your entire life. After 28 years believing one man was your biological father, you've now learned it may be another.
How did Miss Simmons reveal this big secret to her daughter? What were Miss Lawrence's feelings regarding this situation?
She called me about 6 months ago, and when I answered the phone, she was hysterically crying, and of course, I didn't know what was going on. And I'm asking her, what's wrong, what's wrong? She's beating around the bush, telling me all these random stories. And then finally, she goes into saying that she met some random man on the bus, and that he could possibly be my father.
What happened on the bus with Mr. Rockmore?
I ran into Rudy on the bus one day on the way from school. And I said, excuse me, what is your name? Is your name Rudolph? And he says, yes. I say, Rudolph Rockmore. He says, yes, it is. He asks me, who are you? And I look at him like this. I'm like, for real, really? We started talking for a second. He even passed up his bus stop. We exchanged phone numbers and just says, call me later. In the conversation with Rudolph, I told him it's a possibility that I may have your child.
Miss Simmons says she had her reasons for keeping this big secret. What was it?
I had no idea.
When you say you
No idea about
couldn't,
what?
Miss Simmons, why do you say you couldn't?
She's a daddy's girl, most definitely. I didn't want to break the bond between her and her dad. You know, I thought I would never see him again, so I felt that there was no reason for me to bring this up to her.
Miss Lawrence says she didn't have a good relationship with her dad growing up.
What was your relationship like, Ms. Lawrence, with your father growing up?
I mean, we still do to this day. We have a really, really good relationship, and definitely, I mean, because he, you know, he had kind of like that thug life lifestyle to where he was, you know, kind of in and out of prison. So growing up, it kind of affected like...
Miss Simmons seems remorseful for keeping the secret, but the damage may already be done.
Now, Ms. Simmons, how does it make you feel to hear your daughter say this?
It hurts. It hurts a lot. I never really knew that she felt like that. Me not telling her was because I didn't want to hurt her.
Miss Simmons is sending her daughter's photos to Mr. Rockmore.
Like everything was happening so fast. One day she'd tell me about him. The next day, she's sending the man picture.
It's time for Miss Lawrence to meet the man that could be her biological father for the first time. Let's see how this unfolds.
Mr. Rockmore, this is the first time you've ever laid eyes on Ms. Lawrence,
Yes,
a young lady that could potentially be your biological daughter.
yes.
What does Mr. Rockmore feel about Miss Lawrence now that he's officially met her?
When you look at her today, do you feel this could be a real possibility?
Yeah, I can see some resemblance by the eyes.
Also, how does Miss Lawrence feel about Mr. Rockmore?
Ms. Lawrence, how do you feel right now?
I have butterflies in my stomach. I really do. I don't feel like there's any like attachment or like he could be my dad or.
Let's go back to that encounter between Miss Simmons and Mr. Rockmore on the bus.
Mr. Rockmore, take me to the day that you ran into Miss Simmons on the bus.
She had something to tell me. She said I might have a daughter. And, I got quiet at first and I couldn't believe it. I was like,
Oh, she didn't wait to call him later. She dropped the bombshell on him on the bus. Mr. Rockmore feels it's important to know who his kids are.
Why do you want to know if I'm your child or not?
because I think it's important to know who are my kids.
He's willing to spend time with Miss Lawrence if she's indeed his daughter.
What do you think
Just get to know you and, try to spend some time with you. I can't take the place of the guy that's been taking care of you. I can never take his place because he's been there. But I just like to get to know you and spend time with you.
Miss Lawrence, on the other hand, is also willing to make an effort and know who Mr. Rockmore is if he's her dad.
If he is found to be your biological father, what do you want going forward?
Gradually, slowly but surely, we can, get to know each other, but off
So
top,
you'd be willing to
initially,
do that?
Eventually.
Let's see what the results have to say. The answers leave Miss Lawrence in tears.
Mr. Rockmore, you are her father. No, leave me alone right now, please, Mom. Stop. Oh my God.
Miss Kelso is in court to prove that Mr. Davis is the biological father of her 9-month-old baby, Connor Kelso. She's also suing Mr. Davis for child-rearing expenses.
Miss Kelso, you are in court today to prove that Mr. Davis is the father of your 9-month-old baby, Connor Kelso.
Yes, Your Honor.
You claim Mr. Davis has done nothing for your son, so you're suing for half the child rearing expenses in the sum of $2,561. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Davis, on the other hand, is rebuffing Miss Kelso's claims because she was in a relationship with another man.
Mr. Davis, you say Miss Kelso was in a relationship with another man, Mr. Hafner, during the window of conception.
Yes, sir.
So you are 100% certain that you are not Connor's father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why is she suing him if she was in a relationship with another man?
Miss Kelso, you were in a relationship with another man, so why are you suing Mr. Davis?
Because our conception date aligns with the day that I was sexually active with Mr. Davis.
Miss Kelso is in a relationship with Mr. Hafner, but she had sex with Mr. Davis without using protection.
For about 4 years on and off, whenever we weren't with somebody else, we were having sex with each other. And Mr. Davis and I had sexual intercourse while I was dating Mr. Hafner, even though he was out of town at the time.
Can she prove she had sex with Mr. Davis during the window of conception?
Miss Kelso, do you have any evidence that would prove
Yes,
the
I do, Your
time
Honor.
frame? This is
the window of conception between the 5th and the 11th. Mr. Davis and I had sexual intercourse on the 7th, while me and Mr. Hafner had sexual intercourse on the 15th.
Miss Kelso says the baby was late. Mr. Hafner might be the father.
Now you say your baby was late,
Yes, Your Honor.
and you were with Mr. Hafner just 1 week after you were with Mr. Davis.
Yes, Your Honor.
And your baby was how many days late?
6, Your Honor.
Mr. Davis says the kid looks nothing like him.
That I don't believe that child looks anything like me, Your Honor.
You don't see a resemblance at all?
I don't see at all.
But he's also a mixed baby. He's got me in him, too.
He also says she told him the kid isn't his. The question is, can he prove it?
She flat out came out and told
But
me the
if he's there, you know, why would he be there if he didn't think
say the child
Several
is not
times.
yours?
Several times. She's told me in person the child's not mine. She's told me over Facebook. I have pictures of her telling me on Facebook
I'd like to see those.
that she's not that I'm not the father.
So this is a post from you, Amber Kelso. It reads, "My son is not yours."
Why did she tell him the kid wasn't his, but is now suing him for child-rearing expenses?
Yes, I told him that because I didn't want him coming back to my house while I was pregnant. He put me through way too much stress, so I just told him the child's not yours to get him away from me.
Mr. Davis says he spent about $10 on the kid. When asked by Judge Lake why such a small amount, he says he doesn't feel obligated to be there for the kid.
I brought her a bunch of baby clothes, a bunch of baby blankets.
How much did they cost?
They were very low cost, and I mean, some of them were dollars. I mean, no more than $10 for all of them.
And Mr. Davis, you say you contributed $10 to that.
Your Honor, I know for a fact at least 10 people that I know personally that she's had intercourse with. I have no reason to be there for this child.
Mr. Davis believes Miss Kelso is the most promiscuous person he's ever met.
She's the most promiscuous person that I know by far. She's not the first one. She has first, second, and third place.
Miss Kelso has a reason for cheating on Mr. Hafner with Mr. Davis.
And the only reason that Mr. Davis is in the picture is because I had been cheated on by Mr. Hafner, and so I cheated back with Mr. Davis.
So why didn't they use protection?
And were you using protection all these
No,
times?
we weren't, because she told me that she was medically unable to have children. And in the 4 months that we were together, she never so much as had a scare with her. And we met, I can count with one hand. I don't even need all 5 fingers on how many times we've used condoms. And all of a sudden she's pregnant.
Mr. Hafner is here. What's his side of the story?
I have to ask you, do you think baby Connor is your child?
That's what I think.
You do?
Yes, Your Honor.
He says he's been a part of Connor's life, and he can prove it.
I have been feeding him, being there for him, showing him I love him.
What are you holding? Is this evidence you brought to court?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'd like to see what that evidence is. What is this, sir?
It's a picture of me and Connor.
It is.
Yes, Your Honor.
So you're presenting this picture to show a resemblance, and is this you when you were a child?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then baby Connor?
Yes, Your Honor.
On seeing the evidence, Mr. Davis says they're twins.
Okay. When you look at that picture, Mr. Davis, do you see a resemblance?
They're twins. How am I can't tell them apart.
Let's go to when Mr. Davis found out that Miss Kelso was pregnant. Mr. Davis says he was there all the time, but Miss Kelso says something different.
After you found out she was pregnant, question whether or not you were the father. Were you involved in the process? Did you participate in the
Yeah, I was there all the time. I was there all the time. I was there up until about 6 months. I went to quite a few doctor's appointments when she asked me to go. I never had an issue with going.
He showed up at my house about 4 times during my entire pregnancy.
Not true. Not
3
even
of them
close to
trying to
being
look
true.
for sex.
Not even true.
Mr. Hafner's family provided support to Miss Kelso when she was pregnant. Mr. Davis says she didn't reach out to his family.
Mr. Hafner's family has even been supportive to you.
The entire time, since I was pregnant, into the time that I gave birth, the day I gave birth, ever since they have been in my life. Connor sees them regularly, at least 3-4 times a week. I take.
She's made 0 attempts to reach out to me or my family. Through another mutual friend via Facebook, I've seen pictures of her with Connor and his family and having just around Mr. Hafner's family. That's it.
Miss Kelso has a witness in court.
Hear from her.
This
Ma'am,
is
please
Miss
stand.
Hafner, Mr. Hafner's mother.
Thank you for joining us.
This
Ma'am,
is hurting me because I believed Connor is ours. He looks like my dad. I have pictures to prove it.
you don't have to be sorry about being emotional about a child. We understand how important they are.
I love him.
Mr. Hafner's family have accepted Miss Kelso. So once again, why is she suing Mr. Davis? Well, she says she's gotten to this point because she's confused.
I want to know who my son's father is. It's just sad that these people who have cared so much that they don't know the truth, and we're here to find out the truth because
We wanna know.
my son deserves to have a father in his life, regardless of the financial expenses.
Miss Kelso would prefer the paternity test to show Mr. Hafner as Connor's biological father, but she has no doubt it's Mr. Davis. It's time for the paternity results. Will they vindicate Mr. Davis, or will he be forced to pay the child-rearing expenses?
Mr. Hafner, you are not the father. Mr. Davis, you are the father.
The results have Miss Kelso sobbing loudly in court. It's clear she made a mistake.
Do you need to sit down, Miss Kelso? You need to sit down. Okay.
People.
It's okay.
My son needs